Hello, my solar people. Okay, so today we're going to be covering how to read and understand an electricity bill, as well as how utility companies operate, which in turn will help you understand how our company operates. So a lot of people think that we are in the solar business, but that in fact would be incorrect. We are actually in the electricity business. And so what we do is we sell energy. To understand how what we do is different than the traditional way of purchasing your energy, you have to understand how utility companies operate. So for a standard utility company in California, a majority of their energy they're purchasing from out of state. They're buying it from Arizona, Nevada, then they ship it, distribute it, and sell it to the end consumer. The thing is that when they're purchasing that energy, they're mostly not producing their own energy. They're buying that energy from a third-party company. Usually either it's going to be a fossil fuel energy plant or it might be a clean energy solar plant. And the agreement that the utility company and the electricity producer has is what's called a power purchase agreement. Sound familiar? PPA. So that is the exact same agreement that we provide to homeowners. The difference is that we kind of cut out that middleman, right? Instead of them buying the energy from a third-party company, transmitting, distributing it, selling it to the homeowner, we are producing it directly from their home and therefore cutting out a lot of these extra fees and charges. Pretty simple to understand, right? Now, what I want to cover with you next is going to be a little bit more about the individual utility companies. So there's two major utility companies in California or in Los Angeles. One is LADWP and the other is SCE. LADWP is Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, and SCE is Southern California Edison. Southern California Edison is a private company, meaning generally their rates are a lot higher, right? That's not exactly what it means, but that's the end result. And so the way that they are billed is just on a very different structure than how LADWP is. And so I'm gonna go over SCE first, kind of break down the electricity bill and what it looks like, and then I'm going to go over the bill with LADWP. So with Southern California Edison, there's three major areas that we want to look at on the bill. The first is going to be that bar graph on the bill. Now this is the same DWP and Edison. On every bill there's going to be this bar graph. The bar graph lets us know how much energy the person has used over the last year. So generally they're going to have 12 graphs on that bill. You can see a lot of things with that. You can see if they use more energy in their summer versus winter. You can see generally if they used more energy last year than this year. There's some different little things that you can see like that. Then the other thing that we look at is the rate structure that they're on. So there's two different rate structures. One rate structure is what's called TOU, which is time of use, and the other system is called the tier system, where the more you use, the more you pay. So with TOU, or time of use, Edison has a lot of homes on time of use. And how that works is based on the time of day you use your energy, you're penalized for it. So every single day, usually it's between the hours of 4 p.m. and 8 p.m., you are paying the highest rate. Now, a lot of homes are on what's called the tier system, which is the more you use, the more you pay. Generally with those homes, they're going to be paying a little bit lower of a rate. So because they're maybe not hitting their tier 3 every single day. It's very rare that people do. And so they're not paying that highest rate every day. They're going to be usually within their tier 1s and tier 2s, and maybe in summer is where they're going to hit that tier 3 when they're using a lot of air conditioning, right? It's really important to understand and be able to see what rate structure somebody's in. And then the third thing that we want to look at on an SCE bill is their extra fees and charges. So you're gonna have like transmission charge, distribution charge. That's the cost of bringing that energy from out of state to somebody's house, okay? Now, sometimes those extra fees and charges are put in the total rate, right? In the total, when you see the actual rate structure, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes that rate is needs to be calculated, and it's not just like when you go to the gas station, you look up at the board, you know what's your price per gallon. On the electricity bill, it can sometimes be a little bit more complicated than that, okay? So how you calculate the average rate per kilowatt is you take that total bill and you divide it by the total usage, and that's going to be your rate per kilowatt. Now, when we're talking about LADWP, most homes are on the tier system. It's a lot easier to read an LADWP bill. The only thing that is different than with Edison is that they are on a bi-monthly billing structure, meaning they get their bill every 2 months. Now, when you look at that graph for LADWP, you're actually going to see 2 years of usage. Now, the way that you're going to calculate their rate per kilowatt is going to be just the same way as you would calculate it for Edison. You just take that total bill, divide it by the total kilowatts, and then you'll know their rate per kilowatt. Now, because LADWP is a public company, their rate per kilowatt is a bit lower than Edison. But they get additional benefits when they go solar, so it's still a great place and a great time in LADWP to go solar. So what you want to see when you're looking at the bill is maybe that first bill is only going to have, let's say it's $100 bill, right? And in DWP, that means, well, it's a $50 bill for every month, right? Because they get billed every 2 months. So you might look at that bill and say, they're not going to really save money by going solar. They need to save a minimum of 20% in order for us to proceed, right? And so basically, that 1 month might look like they don't qualify, but then if you look at their summer, maybe they're double or triple their usage during those summer months, and potentially they could qualify, right? So it's really important to understand how to read the graph and also how to explain it to homeowners. They have to understand what rate structure they're on and what they're paying. So that's super important. If people don't understand the problem and how they're getting penalized based on how much energy they use, they're not going to care about the solution. So what is it that we do? What we do is we provide a PPA to homeowners where they can buy the energy directly from us. Now, does that mean that they're disconnected from the grid? No. In California, you cannot get disconnected from the grid. You're always on the grid. The grid is a backup system. If anything happens to those panels, their grid is right there to back them up, right? Or if they need more energy than the system produces, they can also receive that from the utility company. But essentially what we provide is an alternative to the utility company. In the past, utility companies were a monopoly, and the only way to bypass that monopoly was to make a huge investment into your home. You would have to invest anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000 to $100,000, depending on how many panels you need, in order to switch over and not be dependent on the grid anymore. But now with this program in place, homeowners can switch over to getting their energy clean and through renewables, and it doesn't cost them anything. Everything is fully funded with the project. They just pay that lower electricity rate. So a lot of people ask, well, how do you make money as a company? What would be the answer to that? Really simple. It's just the same way the utility company makes money. The utility company spent billions of dollars on building that grid, and they didn't spend those billions of dollars. What they do pay for is the energy that comes from the grid, right? And so how it works with solar is exactly the same way. If they are able and eligible to upgrade their home to solar, they only pay for the energy that the system produces at a lower rate. So very similar to how the utility companies operate. Again, it's just cleaner and it's renewable, and so the cost is less. Well, I hope that is helpful in learning how the system works, and go kill it out there. Have a great day, and leave a comment below if you have any questions so we can address them and maybe help out other people who might have questions as well. Bye.